There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Oh, what's up and welcome into episode number 76 of the Program Guys Podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger. Today is Wednesday, June 21st. Be sure to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Trying to hit 1,600 subscribers by the end of the month. Folks, it costs you $0 to subscribe to the program. Patrick, how many dollars does it cost?
$0.
$0, and it helps us out more than you know. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast. However you get your podcast at, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. Gentlemen, how we living? It's Wednesday. I have no power at my house. I'm at my parents' house in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now. They just got power today, so we're living large, baby. Living large. Gotta love it.
Hey, we're doing great, man. It's hot as hell here in Texas, but we're doing great.
That's what I hear. It's what I hear. 100?
A little toasty.
Did it hit 100 today?
Yeah, I think it hit 100, but the feel like temp was like 117 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a
is
joke.
what my little app said. So
Yeah, that's a joke.
it's just, those temps happen quite a bit here. It's just a little early for that. So.
I feel that.
I have a buddy. So I have a buddy who lives in Odessa, Texas, and he lost power today.
Oh no!
And with no indication of when he'll get it back. And he sent us the weather app.
Oh no!
107 degrees today.
Nah, fam.
Bro,
Nah.
No.
like I'm moving at that point.
Yeah.
Hopefully
dude.
that's at least like a dry heat because he's kind of in the desert. But man, that sucks.
Hopefully.
Rough.
That
Patrick, tell
doesn't
us
really
how,
help when you're at 107. So.
Patrick, tell us how nice your weather is.
It's beautiful. Lows are 65, highs are 73, sunny.
So,
June gloom? June gloom?
No
or
June
not?
gloom. No, not this week. It'll
All
be a
right.
full week of sun.
Matt?
no.
It's hot here, but there's also some hot news coming from OU recruiting. I can't wait to jump on in. It's going to be such a great pod. Woo.
All right, let's get right to it then. Some a big weekend last weekend. The Champu barbecue was in Norman, Oklahoma. A lot of recruits in attendance, some big names, and we have some commitments to go over. I don't know if necessarily reflecting from the barbecue, but just commitments in general. Is that a fair assumption, guys? I've been kind of off the grid because I have no power. I don't really know kind of what's going on.
Well, the first one is not from the Champu barbecue.
Thank you. Okay.
The other
Who is
two
it,
are
Pat?
Correct.
Who go through them, Pat?
Yeah, sure. First, we got Danny Sally, who committed early last week. And then we had two commitments this evening, Tuesday night on June 20th, with Dozie Izukanma from Fort Worth, Texas, wide receiver, 3-star, 6'2", 180, or 6'4", 185, if you believe his Twitter versus 247. And we also got James.
That's incredible. We have to
Nesta.
come back to that. But
Yeah, we also got James Nesta listed as a linebacker, 3-star according to Rivals, 4-star according to 247, and on 3, 6'5", 205. We're also seeing he might be 6'4", 210, so give or take a couple pounds, couple inches. But really excited about all three of these commutes. But yeah, let's start with the first one and y'all's thoughts on the first one. Danny Sally, I'll go through his stats again. Defensive lineman, class of 2022. He's 6'2", 389 pounds, according to the Hutchinson Community College website where he played last season. He had a total of 18 sacks, including 1 sack, 18 tackles, including 1 sack, and 3.5 tackles for a loss in 18 games. Huge size there. What do you guys think?
It's so big. It's
Yeah.
so big. It's so big. I think this is the kind of flyer that maybe you throw, one scholarship a year at kind of deal. Something as outlandish as this human being coming in. But if Todd Bates can get to him and they can build something there, you have more of a roadblocker than Dexter Lawrence even was for them. Possibly, right? That size is just unprecedented.
That's a big name to throw around, man.
He's so big. Dexter Lawrence was not this large.
That's
true.
Kind
of what I mean. He doesn't have to be as good as Dexter Lawrence to have an outsized effect on the defense, just because he's like 2 of me, 3 of me.
Yeah. For sure.
What do you think, Ryan? You're humming a lot without really.
No, I'm not. Sorry. No, I completely agree with you overall. I think 389, he's huge. He's going to have to lose some weight, right? Like, he's going to be too slow to keep up, like, is my thinking. And I haven't seen like his tapes or anything like that. I think he probably, I think I was listening to Teddy and Gabe talk about him, but he posted some stuff on Twitter. I have like 389 is massive and I love that, but also at the same time 6'2", 389 makes me think like on the defensive side of the ball, is he going to be able to move and keep up with everything that's going on? Like, how are we going to utilize this big of a body? And like, how much do we actually want him the way, like going into the season? I'm curious about this, but love the size. Super excited about this. I think it's super great overall. And yeah, it's from Topeka, so a little close to home.
All I have on him is that the size is what you are drawn to, of course. To answer Ryan's questions, what they probably want him down to, if I had to guess, 360, 350. And you got to remember, guys like that who are that big lose weight a lot easier than guys can gain weight. So getting down to 360 or 350 for him will not be difficult. So getting him to that point, I think, is going to be okay. But to answer your question, I think probably 360, 350 is the answer. And that's a guy, like Mark said, this is what the defense needs. How good he is when he gets to the field, I guess we'll find out. But to be that big and be a run stopper, a plug in the middle right there, it's massive. It's pun intended. It's massive. Matt Gann, what do you think? Oh, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, just one thing on kind of that same point is he's going to be going from Hutchinson Community College Strength and Conditioning Program to the University of Oklahoma Strength and Conditioning Program. And so if he survives the offseason, you have to assume he's going to be fast enough, quick enough, whatever, to survive a football game. Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's probably already lost like 10 pounds in this heat.
Just hanging out.
Matt,
what was that? But
it just seems like over the last few weeks, there's been a lot of flyers handed out, especially on the defensive line. I can't name how many times, if I just went back and watched the pod, how many defensive linemen that we've added. So I guess it would just be because we can talk about depth and rotation all day, but some of these guys just aren't going to play at the end of the day. There's only so many rotating spots you can have. So it'll be interesting to see who even comes out of it, but they've added quite a bit of defensive line depth. So always good to have more people, especially with this guy with this type of size. You don't get that a lot.
I think because of that size, like, I don't think this guy's going to start. I think this guy would be used in certain situations. I don't necessarily know if we would use him like all the time, like how many snaps we would give him.
For sure. He can't.
Like, even in like a perfect situation, right? I think just like with that size.
Based on the depth, I don't think any of these guys are going to be on the field more than however many snaps at a time with how many people we brought in. So it's always good to have more bodies just in the Big 12 with high tempo offenses. A lot of those guys might get stuck out there. So I guess it's always good to have more than less.
Pat?
I think if it's 4th and 2 and they're on our 40-yard line, this is the kind of guy we plug in.
Great point. I think you're 100% right in that regard. All right. So the Ezukama guy, Dozie Ezukama, wide receiver, 6'2", 6'4". Let's just call him 6'3". Okay. Let's just call him 6'3", right? 3-star wide receiver. I like again, I've said this multiple times. I just feel like, when's the last time we saw OU with a true big receiver? I guess CD you can throw in there, but he's like 6'2", right? About that, right?
He played bigger than he was.
Right.
He wasn't actually 6'4", 6'5". You're looking at like Charleston Rambo, but that's not what we're talking about, right? Yeah,
exactly. So just when's the last time OU had a stud on the field who was that height, who was that massive? I can't remember. So, I mean, who knows? Like Mark said, you take a flyer on a guy, maybe he pans out, maybe he develops into something more. That'd be great. I'm for it.
Definitely. I think Izukanma's older brother played under Emmett Jones at Texas Tech. We brought him in.
Miami Dolphins, bang.
Yeah, we brought him in for the Coach Venables camp recently, and he impressed Emmett there, and that's when we extended him an offer, and he accepted.
Love it.
Went from 2 weeks between camping and getting the offer and accepting the offer. Hopefully he is actually closer to that 185 than the 6'4", 185 than the 6'2", because like you're saying, Mason, we don't have one of those guys yet. We have a bunch of guys that could be that guy, but keep adding to the stable. There's no reason not to.
No reason at all. Matt Gann.
Emmett Jones doing work. It's a couple of guys that he's recruited and extended offers to and that are heading our way. So we'll see who all pans out, but it's at least a good start to add to the 2024 class, which I know we're about to talk a little bit more about, but man, we need some more people in that class. We are hurting.
Well, Mark is to Todd Bates. Matt Gann is to Emmett Jones. That's what I've gathered from the pod over the past few weeks. Ryan?
No, I love it. I think, everything you guys talked about the size, I think that's so incredibly important. And it's very, very nice that we've gotten 2 commits today that are kind of coming off the Champu barbecue, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, when we got through that weekend and I was hearing things about how great it was, but there was like 0 commitments, I'm nervous. I'm getting nervous. This is the same thing that happened last year, but like,
I'm glad you said it, so at least you know.
A little nervous. So same thing that happened last year, and I know it's Brent's policy that you commit, you make it, and all that kind of stuff. But still, we have this massive weekend, and nothing really comes out of it until a couple days later, and they're slowly starting to come in. So hopefully, this is kind of like that domino effect that Gann has talked about in the past.
Definitely could be. James Nesta, another commit, linebacker, that 3-star, 4-star guy that Patrick talked about. Good size again, 6'5", 205, 210, however you split it. I think he could put on a little more weight if you're going to be out there. Probably want him around the 225, 230 mark. But it's a young kid, he's a senior in high school. He'll get bigger. It's hard for me right now, and I've been thinking about this for a few days. It's hard for me right now to get excited about recruits right now, because we know how this staff recruits, the type of guys and bodies they're recruiting, right? They all kind of look similar, but we don't know how they develop on the field yet. We haven't seen a Brent Venables recruit ball out yet. And that's not a knock on Brent or this staff. That's just the case. They're 1 year into it. We haven't really seen it yet. Now, that to say that Billy Bowman or other guys step up. We don't know for sure, but I like the size aspect of it. I'm just curious how these guys develop. That I don't know if I'm making any sense or as much as just rambling, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I watched a little bit of his tape this afternoon when it came through, and it reminded me a lot of what we saw last offseason out of Taylor Wine, who y'all may remember we signed following the Colton Bassick flip. Wine has 30 pounds on James Nesta. So I want to be clear about, this guy's a little bit more of a project as a linebacker. He's lining up on the line of scrimmage in just about every play in the tape that I watched. And if we're going to have him be like a strong side linebacker on the line of scrimmage, that's fine, but then he can't be 205, right? Even if we have him step back, he still can't be 205. So the frame is there, but he's going to have to put on some weight before he can actually play with the big dogs. And that's why we have to see movement, and I think we will, on some guys like Nigel Smith, Williams Ranieri, Danny Okoye, some of the other more ready to go guys, so that we can infuse that talent into the room immediately. James Nesta is a guy who's going to need to put on 30 pounds before he's even Taylor Wine's size. So I've rambled a bit, but
no, I feel like I did as well. Pat,
what do you think?
No, all good things. I like him. I think we were competing against Miami, North Carolina for him. So it's a good win.
Matt Gann.
And he's a Carolina kid.
He's a Carolina thing, the ACC realm that we've gone into now. I love that we're just picking people from kind of all over the country, making our name. Our name's already well known, but making our name more well known in areas. I love it.
Developing pipelines, man, it's massive. These coaches know how important it is to recruit out of state. Matt?
Yeah, it's definitely a good ad for the 24 class because right now, I believe before the 2 commits today, I'm not sure what the update will be, but we came in as a 44th ranked class. And that's just because we haven't had as many
We
commitments.
have like
and
six commits so
Yeah,
far. or something like
not
that,
a whole
something
lot
like
of guys
small.
currently for the 24 class, and every time I get on Twitter, it's always a guy committing to Tennessee, Florida, all these big name schools, and we've just yet to have this kind of drop of talent that we're looking for. I know Mark just mentioned 4 or 5 guys, all the Champion Barbecue. Those are the guys I really want to see committing because those are, like Mark said, the guys that are ready to go day one most likely. And I don't believe James Nessa, once he goes through an offseason with Smitty, won't be ready, but he is going to be more of a project at this point based on his frame and size. So I need some more commits from these higher level guys that we just haven't seen yet, and got to get on it.
I don't think they're going to happen. Not for a while. I like with the way that Brent operates. Like, I mean, you talk about like David Stone. He's got like an official visit coming up to Michigan State.
Yeah.
Like Brent is going to say, do not commit if you are still going on official visits, right? And you got NIL everywhere, so it's going to be a little while, I think.
Yep.
And I think we just have to be patient.
I do think it is time to talk about David Stone, Brian. Good job. I do think that if David Stone has a bad time in Michigan State and commits over the next couple of weeks, the dominoes start to fall for us and we see more and more commitments.
I can't talk about David Stone anymore, man. I literally can't do it. I just can't do it. Let's move on to some crystal balls. Matt Gann, you want to go through the crystal balls for us, brother?
I can. So first crystal ball is Patterson McDonald, safety 3-star for the 24 class. He is actually from Moore, right up the street from where I'm at in Norman. 5'11", 175. That was by Sam Spiegelman of the National Recruiting Analyst. The other one, Isaiah Mosey, another wide receiver, 4-star for the 2025 class, 6 foot 190. He is from Lee's Summit, Missouri. So a couple good guys are also on the radar. Good to see these guys that we're going after in the states that are close to us, especially the in-state talent we keep talking about. I know we don't want to bring it up, but David Stone, these guys that are in-state talent, we can't let leave. Right.
No.
Like the Nate Washington guy, that tight end that committed Notre Dame. Those are guys that we just can't lose. David Stone, another one. These guys got to keep the talent in state. But good to see that we're on the track of getting some of these guys coming in.
Yeah.
So,
real fast. There's more than that. Just if I may, real fast.
Yeah. Go.
Running back Caden Durham was also crystal ball to us. We're in a pretty brutal battle with LSU over him, and to actually win that would be pretty good victory for us. He's out of Duncanville High School, 5'10". I've seen him at 205 about. Another running back, Xavier Robinson. He was previously an Iowa State sort of crystal ball out of Carl Albert High School in Oklahoma City. He's 6'2", 225 as a high schooler. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of size coming in. You really love to see that. There were 2 more, if you guys will just allow me.
Was Tatum the other running back crystal ball? I've seen some.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't seen crystal ball come in for Taylor Tatum, but reportedly he canceled his Michigan official visit after the weekend he had at the barbecue, and so he's just between us and the bad guy out west. That's another big running back domino that could fall.
DeMarco Murray putting in that work. I mean, you just named 3 running backs right there, right? So
DeMarco Murray and Skip Johnson. Because Taylor Tatum wants to play baseball, and James Nesta is the number 1 baseball player in North Carolina. So, I mean, honestly, watch out for him to potentially play Major League Baseball, depending on where he gets drafted. That might be a problem we run into. But another crystal ball that came through, Wyatt Gilmore out of Rogers High School in Minnesota, 6'4", 250. So you're looking at these big guys, right? What's his face? Nesta just needs to put on some weight. He's got to get a little bigger.
For sure. Anything to add on those crystal balls?
If we get Taylor Tatum, I will be so ecstatic.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to win that battle.
For me, one of those
just
guys
because of who it's against.
Yeah.
For me, one of those guys is Caden Durham.
Caden Durham.
Yeah, Caden Durham's one of those guys for me. I would be ecstatic. To Mark's point, winning that battle against LSU would just be icing on the cake. By the way, if you're watching this right now, let us know down below in the comments which one of those commits are you most excited about. Which one of those these crystal balls are you most excited about? We read every single one of your comments. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I got one thing on Isaiah Mosey, if that's how you pronounce his name. Lee Summit, Missouri. That's Caden Green.
I was going to say it. I'm glad you remembered that.
Williams. How do you say his last name?
Winery.
Thank you. So like
and his dad was a Bob Stoops commit. Played for Bob Stoops, is an OU legacy.
Well,
Bang.
there you go. So
Gotta
like,
love it.
yeah, there's a
Bang.
Hey, Mason,
Bang.
you just talked about pipeline, right?
Mhm.
That's what you're talking about right there. Pipeline.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. They put in the work, man. They really, really do. It's just, again, I really just cannot wait to see what these guys develop into, because I feel as though they're recruiting the right guys. I really, really do. It's just about what happens when they get to Norman, how they develop, and what they look like on the field. That's all it is to me.
Well, and it's a bunch of guys who are perfect around the 5 stars that we're recruiting too.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be perfect if David Stone is next to James Nesta in 3 years on a pass play, rushing the passer. It's a little tougher if he's next to, a 3-star that we signed at the last minute to make up for it, a la David Hicks last year.
Absolutely. Anyone else on the crystal balls before we move on to some Michael Hawkins news by chance? Okay. I do want to read a commenter of the week. If anybody has a commenter of the week, you can read it now. But I found one from last week. By the way, folks, 31 comments on the episode last week. Thank you so much. Keep on commenting. Keep blowing it up. This is from John Keister 3739. He said, if you want to know how good these top 10 teams in the SEC are going to be, just look at their recruiting. More 5-star players on both sides of the ball, like Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, on and on. Good point by John. You got to recruit 5 stars if you want to be competitive in the SEC. Thank you for that comment, John.
I'm going to throw another contender in there for comment of the week. This is from the homie Stink Ass Cat. Well,
what a guy.
I've watched quite a few different OU football podcasts over the
Patrick.
past 7 years.
That's Patrick's burner.
And I got to give the guys props. As a team of 5, you do way better job than most 2-person podcasts. Keep up the good work. Love to hear some smoke up my ass.
Yeah.
I love it too.
Keep blowing it.
Look, 100%. Look, Stink Ass Cat is a real one. Let me tell you. Stink Ass Cat, we appreciate the praise as always. Comment down below. You can be our commenter of the week next week. Might give you a shout out on the show. All right, some Michael Hawkins news, boys. What do you say? He was at the Elite 11 last weekend. What are we saying? Weekend? I can't even remember.
I don't know what it is.
It was it was
He
weekend,
didn't-
I think.
He didn't place in the top 11. But this is an evaluation from who put this in here? Anybody know who the evaluation is from?
It's somebody.
Patrick.
I
It's
forgot.
Patrick's evaluation.
It's okay.
I forgot
Patrick.
who said. I forgot who said it, but-
Inside story.
It's all right,
Inside
Pat.
scoop.
It's all right. It's his Tennessee sources. It's all good.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
Tennessee
I got some
sources.
sources.
Yeah, just from accounts, it sounds like he struggled a little bit, but what do you want? I mean, I don't really care. His stats, he went 14 for 20 on passes on the night 2 pro day, finished the 7-on-7 portion of the Elite 11 finals, going 5 for 12 passing. Not the Jackson Arnold show that we saw last year. I think we can all admit that, right? But
Did we expect that? Like I
I
didn't.
mean, no.
Patrick, I think did, but
I just want Patrick. I want to
he's
clear
not
out
even
for Patrick.
denying it. Like Patrick, just take your
What do
moment.
you feel about this,
Yeah,
Pat?
Pat, go off.
Hawkins had
man.
one guy on this podcast really trying to stay positive about it. and and then we go 5 and 12 in passing. Now, I mean, hey, this stuff doesn't matter. It can matter, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm not gonna read too much into it. It would have been nice if he did better, but at the end of the day, we'll all move on. He'll be okay.
I'm going to hold us accountable, at least myself.
Yeah.
It mattered to me last year when Jackson Arnold was the best one.
Right.
Like I'll
That's why
call
this
myself
matters.
out there.
Yeah.
That it mattered last year, but this year it does not matter. I'm on the
Right.
record. It doesn't matter this year.
That's college football, baby.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Matt,
It's just
anything?
that's also just being a fan of like any team.
I know.
It's
I
not
know.
even just college football.
Matt, you got anything, brother?
I just don't know how much stock you can put in these camps. I mean, it's good. It's good if he's doing good, but I don't. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it really matters
can,
whether Jackson Arnold did good last year or whoever does upcoming. I don't put too much emphasis on it.
I feel you.
I think we should also, like, we were talking about it before we hit record. Michael Hawkins is the 26th ranked quarterback in the 2024 class. And the guys who are at the top of the Elite 11 list are the guys at the top of the quarterback list, right? It's Dylan Raiola. It's Julian Sayin. Is that how you say his name? The Alabama guy? We'll figure it out, right? We'll find out at some point.
Yeah.
To Ryan's point, we weren't expecting to see him come in and light everything up. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
None of it matters. Get him on campus, baby.
Yeah, get him on campus. We're good to go.
Like this next guy.
Yeah, this next guy.
Oh my god.
Kevin.
this
Oh shit!
great.
I pressed the wrong button. Segue. I ruined Mark's segue because my phone messed up. Kevin Sperry is who Mark was alluding to. Kevin Sperry, he's transferred from Prosper, Texas.
2025 quarterback commit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay. I didn't know if you were still going.
That's all.
He was at Rock Hill High School in Prosper, Texas. He's transferring to Carl Albert High School here in Oklahoma. He's getting closer to Norman, getting closer to the OU campus. Carl Albert, for those who may not know, a very good high school in the Oklahoma football sphere. They're a very talented program, win a lot of 5A state titles. I think they're in 6A, the lower 6A division this year, 6A1, I want to say. And 6A2 is the highest. So he's in the second highest classification in Oklahoma. A lot of good teams in there. He'll play some good football. That's for sure. And he'll be not as good as Texas. I'm not going to start a war in the comments or whatever. Texas high school football is very, very high key, but he's not going to scrub school. He's going to go there and perform at a good school. Matt?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard of a recruit move his senior year to be closer to the school. Maybe I'm just biased. Maybe I've just never heard of an Oklahoma
Junior year.
Yeah,
It's
junior
2 more
year.
years.
Yeah, so again, I good. I mean, from what the quote says in the article I read, he wanted to be closer. So for recruiting purposes, you love the passion that he has. I mean, these are the type of guys you want because it really rallies the class. I mean, we saw Jackson Arnold in his recruiting class. These are the type of players, when that domino falls, you tend to see other players follow. Good day. He wants to be closer. I don't really get the move of uprooting your life and moving, but if he wants to play football in the state of Oklahoma, I'm not going to bat an eye.
Sure. Anyone else?
It's kind of crazy, but let's do it.
I feel like that's the world we live in now, though, man. I feel like it's crazy, but like it's not, because like this is what people do now. It's odd, but it's what happens. Mark?
So it's kind of weird. I envision two different things, right? So the first is, okay, you're right there. And we have this quote that's right here. Quote, it's going to be great being close to campus, also with recruiting and everything. I'm just 20 minutes away from the facility, so I can be there, unquote. So does that mean he's taking unofficial visits every weekend to go see the guys that are coming to town that weekend? Is he taking unofficials to every single game to meet with every single recruit, sort of on behalf of the coaching staff? Because if that's the case, that's pretty cool. That's, you just have another recruiter on staff, basically. But if he's not, then Prosper is like 40 minutes away from Dallas. And we just saw two classes between Jackson Arnold and now Michael Hawkins out of the DFW area. And those guys, two quarterbacks in two classes out of the DFW area. And those dudes were able to bring sort of arsenals with them out of DFW, because that's how a lot of that regional recruiting is done, right? Moving to Oklahoma, we no longer have the sleeper cell at quarterback in the DFW area. So that's sort of interesting to me. But if he's on campus every day, man, that is something. Or every weekend, I guess. That is something for all of these other recruits if it turns out that he's the guy. Like we kind of hope he is.
Yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, so some geography here. Prosper's very north DFW. If you look up in maps, it is 2 hours and 44 minutes from Norman. Yes, it is not 20 minutes, but it's not that far. I think I'm a little confused by the move. I think it's kind of like uprooting an entire family to move states is a lot. But if they wanted to do this and this was a family decision and they all felt like empowered by this, hey, it's like it's their lives. They should live it the way they want to. So I have nothing against it. I think on its face seems a little odd, but hey, if he can be closer and he wants to be that guy who's just the real like champion of recruiting, we're not going to say no to that.
Big time Caleb Williams vibes to me. Big time Caleb Williams vibes. Trying to be the face of the class. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a knock on the kid. Let me be clear. Caleb Williams did a great job being the face of that class in 2021, and was a big reason why that class got a lot of the guys they got, is because Caleb was so involved. And being this close as Sperry is, couldn't be a bad thing.
As good as Caleb Williams.
Sure. I mean, same. Absolutely,
that would be great.
Have you
That would
guys
be
watched
nice.
much of him?
I've
He's
not.
pretty good.
No.
His ability to throw off platform is very impressive.
Yeah,
I hope
he's
that his
pretty good.
body develops. Like that's what he's going to need, is to like just grow into being a man. But he's got a freaky arm.
I mean, he's
Killer
what,
arm.
16? Is he 16 right now?
Like, young,
Yeah.
Yeah.
16 or
young,
17.
and unranked by 247. We were looking at it earlier.
Wow.
Wait. No, that was I was looking at the wrong class earlier.
Oh,
Were
okay.
you looking at
Cut
24?
this.
Yeah, you were looking at 24, I think.
I was
Cut
running
this.
24.
Yeah.
Got
Mhm.
this. Well, cool.
This.
Anybody else anything to add on any recruiting talk before we move on to some must watch? Okay. Ryan,
To clean that up, Kevin Sperry, number 23 in the class of 24. Or
23 in the class
25.
of 24. 25.
25.
Class of 25.
He's
There's too
number
many
23
23s.
quarterback in the class of 2025.
There it is.
Love it. We got it right. That's all that matters.
We
You
got it
get
right at the end of
end.
the day. Look, there's a lot of 23s
All right,
and 25s
Ryan.
being
Any
thrown
must watch?
around.
I'll take my answer off air.
Yeah, it must watch, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna shake things up today and do something I've never done before. And I'm gonna do a must not watch.
Oh no.
I'm being inspired by, I don't know who started the LVP. I don't know who it was, but I'm being inspired by that. Mark is pointing at himself. I knew Mark would point at himself, even
I
if
think it is
wasn't
Mark
him.
though. I think it was though, honestly.
Oh wow. Well, kudos to Mark for that. I'm taking inspiration from that because I've been watching a lot of good stuff recently, but like there's one that's like seared into my brain as like this is one of the worst things I've ever like seen. And you guys probably know, you've probably heard of it at least, because it's kind of like in the news right now a little bit. Maybe it's not in your spheres and more in my spheres. But it's called The Idol. So it's called The Idol and it's on HBO. It is an HBO original, which usually has really incredible like production value and just like really like rave reviews.
Is this the weekend show?
The Weekend Show. Yeah, this is the Weekend Show.
Oh, it's
Johnny
rough.
Depp's daughter,
Okay.
too.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's
Ooh.
daughter, The Weekend. It is by the guy who did Euphoria, which I actually really like Euphoria, but I mostly like Euphoria because of Zendaya, because I think she's really, really good in that. But anyway, it is about it's really like hard to even describe what it's about. It's a 6-episode limited series on HBO. Like I said, not HBO Max, not Max or whatever it's called now, is an HBO original, which usually not a lot of shows get that moniker. It is supposed to be like their big hit of the summer. It's got The Weeknd behind it, who is producing it, as well as Axe in it. A lot of big names attached to it, right? And it is like genuinely like terrible television. And it's really hard to like explain why it's so bad. It's like, I think there was a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that happened with it. Let me tell you what it's about first. It's about basically Johnny Depp's daughter, blanking on her name right now, but she plays a pop star who had just gone through like a very like difficult time. Her mother passed away. She had like a mental break, very public, all of that kind of stuff. And then the character, his name is Tedros, comes in, and it's played by The Weeknd, and he like brings her into like this cult situation thing, and it's like supposed to be about like a satire on the like music industry, but then it delves into some like weird cult stuff that doesn't make any sense. So like that's kind of like the premise of the show. It is extremely, extremely just like in your face. It's like very sexual, very violent, very like, I wouldn't even say violent. I would say like weird and just like uncomfortable, and it makes you uncomfortable when you're watching it. I think what it's trying to do is it's trying to like push the boundaries and say like, how much can we shock people with like what we're doing here? And it just like does not work because the writing is bad. I actually think Depp is not bad in the show, and she's like allowed to do like what she's like meant to do in it. The Weeknd might be the worst actor I've ever seen in my life. Like just completely awful. Like
Dude,
just like does not know how to function.
There's some clips of him going around social media in that show.
Yeah.
And it's cringy, man.
Dude,
it's
so
rough.
It's
like,
so bad.
Oh,
it's so bad.
brother.
And it is a basically like what I was going to talk about beforehand is there was an article that came out, and I don't remember the publication it came out on. But in April, before this premiered, that there was a lot of like allegations happening behind the scenes of like abuse and other things like that. Just a really troubled production. And apparently like the director of the show originally like left the show like when it was like 80% done, and then Sam Levinson, guy who did Euphoria, came in and like redid the entire show. And a lot of rumors around that The Weeknd came in and said the show was too much from the female perspective and it needed to be more from the male perspective, and that's why like his character has such more of like a bigger part in like this new production. His character is awful, just like an awful human being, and he can't act, and it's just like it ruins the entire show. And I don't understand how this was made. I don't understand how HBO probably spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on it. And I do not understand why they premiered it. Like, it is that bad. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. So please don't watch it. It's not even good enough to hate watch.
Wow.
Like, that's when you know something's really, really bad. It's like not even good enough to hate watch. Don't watch it. It's like a softcore porn. Don't do it. Don't do it. Matt, looking at you. Don't do it.
The more you tell me not to, the more I want to. So that's my thing.
Questions. I feel like people have questions.
No, I actually, on the other side of the whole cult thing, we actually started the Shiny Happy People, the Duggar family documentary on Prime the other day. And one, it's pretty well done. I'm not super familiar with the Duggar family, but what you really get into is the church cult thing that they're talking about with regard to the family. And I asked Cassie this, and I want to run it by the gang as well. How large does a group need to be before it rises to the level of cult for you? Or like, what is your definition of cult? Could it be like, could the five of us be a cult if we just started thinking, espousing, believing crazy things? Because sometimes, bro, you're like 9 people.
I think my threshold's 20. I think my threshold's 20.
So the Duggar family is a cult because they got to 21. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Them unto themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They're all
that's my
related,
threshold.
right?
Yeah, it's 2 parents and then 19 children.
Yeah, I don't know if
by
I
the
consider
end.
that a cult. Because it's that's like one family. I consider like multiple different people coming from multiple different grounds where they're all trying to like find this like sanctuary of some kind that this like very charismatic leader has brought them into because they want to feel safe. Like that is the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of cult. It's usually a lot of people who feel alone and want to be engaged and in something bigger than themselves, and people take advantage of that.
Matt, you escaped a couple of cults in your life. What's the like threshold for you?
Yeah, it hits me near and dear to my heart, and I've been thinking about this a lot today. Let me tell you, because Mark put it in the outline, and I was just thinking to myself, "Wow, how big does a cult need to be?" And from my perspective, it could be as little as 5, because it's not about how many people; it's about the belief. And if you're really adamant about your belief and philosophy and all that,
are we a cult?
We're cold about OU sports. I mean, what's the real definition of cult? I feel like there's not a numbers definition. It's just a group of people. I would say at least 5 would be the minimum that believe in one unified mission. So
to me, it's about the leader, though. To me, there's like always like a charismatic
have you seen
leader.
Mason Prince?
My leader's Brent Venables. I don't know what you're talking about. That's my leader. So if we're a cult, Brent's the leader.
Speaking of Oklahoma football, an article with James Nesta just came out where James Nesta says he is going to play cheetah for the University of Oklahoma.
Get in
He
line.
says he is I'm very versatile, so they think I could even up playing inside linebacker as well.
That's his history. That's his future. That's
Damn,
what he's going to end up
like
doing.
for
That's
real.
where we need more help.
For real.
We have better athletes at cheetah.
Are they telling these kids that you could play cheetah, or like do they just want to play that? I genuinely have no idea.
I think
because
having the cheetah position in your arsenal to tell kids, hey, you can be a cheetah, you can go play cheetah, you can come play cheetah for us, and then pointing at a guy like Isaiah Simmons, and even if 9 of the 10 don't end up playing cheetah, you still got him there based on that partially.
Yeah, I guess.
I just lie.
I just don't. I don't know. Matt, anything to add, brother? Brian? Okay.
I don't think so. No, you guys covered it.
All right. Thank you for the update, Patrick. That was a breaking news by Patrick. Matt, breaking news by Patrick alert. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's wrap up the show with our PGP MVP of the week. And we will, Patrick, you perked up. Did I miss something?
No.
Did I miss something? Okay, then you go ahead. Start us off with your PGP MVP of the week.
I'm in between. I'm just going to do the loser MVP of the week. It's the German national soccer team. Absolutely atrocious.
Oh, yes.
Wrong system, wrong players, complacency all over the field, not playing direct, so easy to defend. Everything's wrong, and I've never been at a place where like I have no hope for this team, and I'm there.
Wow.
There's not a single dangerous player on this team. I've always felt like, yeah, sometimes we don't get it right, but at least we have the talent. I don't even know if we have the talent anymore. We have to fire everybody and get rid of everyone as soon as possible. That's it.
Man.
That was ominous.
Yeah.
Bunch of losers in that one. Oof.
Yeah. All right, Megan.
I'm going to go baseball over the past week. Shohei Ohtani leads his team in every statistical category there is known to man. We're talking runs, hits, home runs, extra bases, RBIs, stolen bases, hitting average, OPB, slugging, OPS, wins, ERAs, and strikeouts. One single player, every single statistic. That's incredible. And that's why the Angels are second in the division behind my Texas Rangers at 41 and 33. Ohtani is literally a generational player. It's incredible that he's able to pitch and hit the way he does. Incredible.
Shut
He's
down the
leading that
franchise.
He's leading that for his team though, not
Correct. His team,
the
but
MLB.
the fact that his team alone, he's in all of those categories. Not one other person is better in one single category. Incredible. He is the team.
I'll do you one better. Patrick mentioned the team. He leads the American League in home runs. He leads the American League in strikeouts. That's effing insane.
Incredible.
That's stupid.
Wild.
That's so crazy. He's a god. He's a god. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm gonna take mine to movies, shockingly. We talked about Silo last week. I am gonna give my MVP to Rebecca Ferguson, who plays the main character Juliet in Silo. But she's also, the reason I'm giving her MVP is she's in two of the biggest movies this year. One that's coming out shortly, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I am so pumped about, so excited. And then my most anticipated movie of the year, Dune Part 2. So having a massive year, and she deserves it. She's great and everything. So she's my MVP.
Gotta love it. Mark?
Yeah, Patrick kind of hit on this earlier. DeMarco Murray is going to be my MVP. So early on in the game this week, we started seeing rumors that Xavier Robinson might flip. Now we're starting to see some more Caden Durham momentum and Taylor Tatum momentum. Look, if those three can make up your running back class and you can have that settled now, then he's able to look at 2025. He's able to help out with the recruitment of other players. That's such a big thing, man. If he's able to knock it out of the park that way this early, that's a resource that you can really start to throw at some of these other recruits that we want to land. DeMarco Murray, my MVP.
Perfect MVP. My LVP of the week is the users of the Ring neighborhood app. Those people have driven me insane for the past 3 days. The power is out in Tulsa, Oklahoma for around 300,000 people. And since the power went out on Saturday night, people post in that app like they're posting to Facebook, asking the Ring app community when their power is coming back on, when they could just as easily go to the PSO app or the PSO website and find that out for yourself. And credit to the people who post on the Ring app and tell those people, stop posting in this app. Go look at PSO. It's not that hard. And people look at it and they don't care. They just keep posting. Anyone know when the power's coming back on? Anyone know when the power's coming back on? Like we're all working for a new station. It's just what? People are morons. That was a weird way to say morons. Wow. What I was trying to say.
You had some flair to it.
I know. I was trying to say moronic. I think I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable right there. But that's from
Mark is
that's old Mike Myers.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was what you did there. Was
that's
cool.
why you're
It sounded very
right.
like Boston.
Yeah.
Getting
Exactly.
into your roots right there.
Yeah. But that's my LVP of the week. Drives me insane. But hopefully power comes back on soon. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you for joining Program Guys Podcast. Episode number 76 is in the book. Share with your friends. Mark says he's not wrong. Share with five
friends. Word
of
mouth is the best you can do.
Share with 5 friends
biggest
right
thing
now.
you can do for us.
100%. Mark, he gets it. This guy gets it. Share with 5 friends. Costs you $0 to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us out. Help us get to 1,600 subscribers by the end of the month. Follow us on Twitter, Program Guys with the Z, Instagram, Program Guys with the Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast, wherever you get your podcast that you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. Share with 5 friends. Patrick, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.